Hello, my patrons and anybody else. I thought I'd just look at my background. I love playing with these backgrounds. Kind of looks weird with the white on, but anyway, add the Buddha. This is my Kundalini shirt that I usually wear to go to Kundalini. So I'm going to share my chart because we have, you've probably realized by now, a huge event tomorrow, because we have the spring equinox where the sun moves into Aries, and we also have less than 4 hours later a full moon at 0 Libra to Aries, and the sun will be conjunct Chiron. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about that. I do want to say that I do have a call tomorrow for my $25 and $50 patrons, and they get a call, a separate call every what's the date? Every every new and full moon. Oh my goodness. That was kind of funny. I was like, can I speak? I've lost my ability to speak. Of course, bear in mind that Neptune is still Neptuning my chart a lot. And I was just looking to see how many spaces I have left, if anybody's I've opened up 5 more spaces for the $25 a month level where they get new and full moon calls, and you get a mini reading on the new moon call. We do ceremony on the full moon call. On the full moon call as well, I will be adding an example chart. I'm doing a little bit of astrology teaching as well. There's also a private Facebook group for that, and you also get all the things that all the other levels have. Okay, so there's 5 spaces left for that, and I'm saying this because we have a special call tomorrow. So if anybody wants to kind of join in, hey, yes, hello, and if anybody wants to join in, you know, an upgrade to $25 a month, it's kind of perfect timing to do it because we have a call tomorrow and then in 2 weeks tomorrow for the next new moon. But that's not why I'm doing this call, really. I just wanted to do a live stream, and yeah, you will be able to ask questions after I've talked for a bit. So I just wanted to show you the equinox chart for where I am in Salt Lake City. So the sun goes into Aries at 3:59 p.m. here in Utah. You're 7 hours ahead in the UK, I think. I don't know actually whether you are at the minute because we changed clocks. What time is it there, Yasmin? If you wouldn't mind chatting in the box for those of you in the UK. Because this is the time of year I get confused because we've sprung forward and I don't think it's 30:45. That's a good time. 10:40. 8:45 is that? Yeah. So yeah, 8:45 p.m. I was like 30. Woo! I know things are pretty weird at the moment, but that would have been hilarious. So that's 8. So am I. 8:45 p.m. and it's 2:45 p.m. here, give or take 1 minute. So you're 6 hours ahead of us at the moment. So the equinox for you is at 9:59 p.m. Tomorrow, and the equinox is when the sun moves into Aries. And to my mind, that is actually the astrological new year. But I just wanted to quickly talk about the chart. I'm not going to go on for ages because I do have a reading to do in a little bit. But I want to look at some patterns, some aspects, some numbers, just for you, rather than just on the podcast. So the sun, there is the sun, 0, Aries. That's the equinox. Less than 4 hours later, it'll have moved to 0 degrees and 9 minutes for the actual full moon, and the moon will have moved into Libra. So the full moon is an opposition between the moon in Libra and the sun in Aries. The sun is conjunct Chiron. And if you look really, the sun and Chiron are not making, there's a line to the moon, obviously, because it's going to be opposing. But the sun is pretty well unaspected for the equinox, except that it's conjunct Chiron. And for those of you that been following for quite some time, you know that Chiron has only recently moved into Aries for the first time in 51 years. So, well, the first time since it last entered Aries anyway. And so this is pretty big, really. Chiron is, you know, it's shaped like a key, the symbol. I do think the symbol shapes have a kind of a lot to do with what the energy is about. And Chiron is generally seen as the wounded healer, but it's also the key to healing. If we think of Chiron, the energy of the centaur, he was actually a bit different to the other centaurs. He was half man, half horse, but his front legs were those of a human, and the back legs and body that of a horse. So he was a bit more human than the other centaurs. And the centaurs were generally kind of a naughty lot, but he was kind of a higher level of centaur because he was a teacher. He taught archery. He was a philosopher. He taught philosophy. He was very much kind of a hierophant, kind of healer figure. He was also an herbalist or a herbalist in England. And so he was a bit of a medicine man, really, or as my friend Christina describes him, and some other astrologers, a maverick shaman. So, and Aries is the sign of the I am. It's a new beginnings. It's a new start. It's the first sign. It's the toddler of the zodiac, I always like to say. So you can see where this is kind of going. The sun is our core, our ego, if you like. So really, this is kind of an ego healing full moon. And the moon will be in Libra in the opposite side and of the chart, and that's in the sign of Libra, which is the sign of we, the other, everything. So that's what I wanted to talk about first of all. Then I've also talked about this Grand Cross. We have this Grand Cross or Grand Square here, the Cardinal Grand Cross, which is really kind of perfected already, and it's perfecting more and more over the next few days, right up to the end of the month and into the beginning of April. Now, a Grand Cross can be a little bit of a challenge because you've got 2 oppositions and 4 squares, so everything's kind of pushing against each other. But this one is to the lunar nodes. And anything that squares the lunar nodes is a real turning point because the lunar nodes are our karma and our dharma. And here we have Hygeia here. We have Eris. Hygeia is health and healing, really. Eris is goddess of discord or the revealer of artifice. We've got Astraea there, and she's at 23. And I actually cannot really remember what Astraea is about, so I'm just going to look her up because she's not one that I have used too much, but I do think she is kind of a little bit important because she is not only conjunct Eris on this, but she is also at 23. So she's another goddess of justice, Astraea. Okay. She was discovered in 1845, and she's justice, legalities, and the law, and is also known as the Starry Maid. Okay. So just to talk about her. So we've got 3 real goddess archetypes here. all in Aries at the Grand Cross. And then Pallas Athena retrograde over here. And she's also to do with justice. She's wise justice. She's represented by the owl of wisdom and a couple of other kind of totems. But she's in Libra and she's saying, you know, bring justice to the people, if you like. And then, of course, the South Node. Look at this. So we've got all this energy over here. All right. And in Capricorn, Pluto, Saturn, they'll be meeting at 22 degrees of Capricorn next January. But really, they are together now. And until Saturn goes retrograde, they are pretty much together. The South Node always goes backwards. So these two, Pluto and the South Node, are moving towards each other. They're less than 2 degrees apart. So we've got this conflagration here in Capricorn, in the karma or the dragon's tail end of this this Grand Cross, saying release the old rules, transform the patriarchy, which is really what Capricorn is, the system by which we live. The South Node's asking us to release because it's the releasing end of, it's asking us to release old patterns, old rules. I've said all this before, but you know, it bears repeating. Okay. So we have all that, the Grand Cross I've talked about. And it's a cardinal Grand Cross, which is initiating change. It's kind of huge. And then we've got all this stuff. Look at this at 23, 23, 23, 23. That was Mars. So Eris and Astrea. Vesta at 23 Pisces. Venus, by the time of the actual full moon, will be at 23 Aquarius. We've got 23 is the midpoint of the South Node and Pluto, the point in between these two. Jupiter's at 23 Sagittarius. And 23 is just such a huge number. It's the, you know, it is the most powerful of numbers, and it is the number that it's a 5, so it's a number of change. This is a chart of real change and new beginnings. So it's not just the chart of a new season. It's not just the chart of a full moon. And a full moon is often said, oh, it's a fulfillment. But it's also like a fulfillment halfway through the lunar cycle and the start of another bit, the waning part. So it is a beginning and an end. Okay. So this is kind of enormous, you know, so much at 23. And all this, we've got this kite figure too. Look at this. We've got the grand trine before the moon moves into Libra. That is in earth signs, saying let's move the earth. And all of that is pointing at the sun and Vesta. Okay, Vesta, the keeper of the flame. I always think of Vesta as this, well, she's the hearth of the home because she was the hearth of Rome. Okay, the Vestal Virgins were the hearth of Rome. They kept the fire burning in the home. But it's more than just the home, you know, that we live in. It is our home. It is the greater home. So we've got all this kind of goddess energy with Mars and Pluto actually exactly trining today, causing all this earth moving energy going, let's kind of move on. I just want to move on a couple of hours. This will actually be just before, one more hour. This will be just after the full moon. You see that Venus has moved into 23 degrees. Okay, so this is still at 23. These two are 23 still. Mars is still 23. The nodes are about to move back to 23. This is quite amazing. Jupiter's at 23. So you've probably, I don't know if everybody reads all my posts, so I'm going to repeat some of my stuff. And lots of peeps feeling the weight of this time. Yeah, it is weighty. It's pretty huge. It's kind of this huge tectonic pressure, you know, and we've had a cyclone in Madagascar, and we've got dreadful floods in Nebraska that are quite tragic, and nobody's really reporting it on the mainstream news. It's it's kind of weird. But the 23 is we've got 23 sets of chromosomes, 23 moving parts in our arm and hand. Okay. There's lots of other 23s. I want to just quickly look up what other things are said about 23. I've written some stuff before, but I want to kind of do a little bit more. 23 is expressing personal freedom. 23 is a creative but team-focused number 5, with a preference for quick diplomatic solutions to obstacles. And all the energy that's at 23 is pretty much goddess energy, but with the support and drive and expansion of Mars and Jupiter. Okay, so there's a lot of truth energy coming in. Okay. So 23 also has elements of companionship, diplomacy, teamwork that we've talked about. So 23 is a really kind of important number. My friend Jen, who I do the podcast with, says it's the most powerful of numbers. I've heard that said about 13 as well, but it is a powerful number. The number 23 is really, if you look at it, we've got the 2 and the 3, and the 2 and the 3 are really they make 5, but we've got the 2 is all about relationships. It's also the number of the divine feminine. Okay, and then it's teamwork. We've talked about that. The number 3, though, is a very creative number. It's creative self-expression, and all of these. And it's social interaction and optimism and inspiration. So this is a really huge, huge, huge day. But I am feeling like there's this massive pressure leading up to it. I'm not saying it's going to end. I wish I could, because, you know, this year is just kind of crazy, to be honest. Because then we have Mercury passing Neptune again, and then stationing direct and passing Neptune yet again. So the Earth's tilt is 23. Oh, is it? I see. There's lots of 23s everywhere. The 23 Enigma is an interesting thing to look up. It's kind of a bit wacky, some of it, and but as I wrote in another article, it's also associated with the planet, with dwarf planet Eris, by the Discordians who kind of worship Eris, if you like. They're kind of a bit crazy. I'd look up the Discordians if you really want some fun. There's online is their Principia Discordia, is their document, kind of like the Discordians Bible, and some of it's really interesting, but some of it's really like crazy. So it's kind of real conspiracy theory stuff, some of it, but it's, who knows, you know, these theories, maybe there's something to them. But overall, you know, we've got this conflagration of energies, all connecting, all these energies. And I kind of said that the sun and Chiron are pretty much unaspected on the ingress. Well, that's true, except that there is a semi-septile aspect, or semi-sextile aspect rather, which is a 30-degree aspect. It's not one of the major ones, to Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus has just moved into Taurus and is also causing seismic change. And he's the lord of lightning bolts and sudden change, sudden awakenings. So it's in kind of new beginnings. It's not just a new season, which we have every year. It's a new season with a comet, which is what Chiron actually is. He's called an asteroid usually, but they've decided, the astronomers have decided he's actually a comet now, kind of awakening us up to this new identity. Chiron, just in Taurus, awakening us to our true core values around everything, money, the earth, you know, our relationships, nature, all that kind of stuff. So this is a real kind of change and awakening. It's really kind of huge. All right. I just want to go through a few more days to the end of the month. Mercury turns direct on the 28th, conjunct Neptune pretty much, which is going to be a real bit of a crazy day. It may pull the veils back behind something, because Neptune and Pisces are very much the veil, and Neptune stationing on it Neptune being information, communication, something may be really majorly revealed on that day. And welcome, Susanna, by the way. And I've just looked at who's here, so I don't always see the names until I look. And then you can see that by the time Neptune moves, Pallas Athena has moved back to 23 degrees and is opposing Eris at 23 degrees, and the nodes have moved back to 23 degrees. So the 23, I keep talking about it, is just, you know, then Pallas moves on, it all separates a little bit, but then Pluto moves to 23 degrees as well. And these two get, the nodes and Pluto meet and cross over each other. So after April the 4th, kind of things start to separate a little bit, but they will come back together again. It's a huge time of change. Black Moon Lilith will also cross that 23 degree mark of Aquarius. So it keeps being triggered over and over and over again. Juno will move to 23 degrees. She's often called the relationship asteroid or the soulmate asteroid. But she is that. But she's also represents the needs of the oppressed as well, all the oppressed. And in Mercury ruled Gemini, while Mercury is just turning direct and with Neptune, something could be revealed around that. She's moving to oppose Jupiter. This is all really, you know, these degrees are going to be triggered again and again and again. I'm just going to move forward a few more days, because then, oh, there we go. Jupiter turns retrograde and passes back through the 23 degrees again. So it's kind of enormous times, you know. So I'm probably going to be coming on here a lot more. Sometimes it will be public, sometimes it will be just for patrons, things like that. But, you know, I do want to come on, I do want to support you, I do want to answer your questions. So I'm going to shuffle the cards and ask if there are any questions at this time. There are 2 of you on. Feel free to ask questions. This is being recorded and will go up for those of you that are not live. But I do want to just reiterate that I have opened up 5 more spaces at the $25 a month level, where you get 2 calls a month if anybody is wanting to upgrade to that. You can upgrade for a month and go back down again, or you can not upgrade. It's up to you. But oh, cool. It'd be nice to have you back. Yeah. And that's the thing I love, you know. Sometimes it's a bit like, oh, the income goes up and down, but it's fine. It's steadily dripping up a little bit to my first goal, so that I can really focus on writing and just doing this, really. So the idea was for it to be a slow build to a regular amount. So I'm pulling you a couple of cards because I have a call for the $25 level tomorrow, but I don't know if I'll have time to get on and do this as well. So this is kind of for the equinox, and this is for the full moon too. So funny, we have the art card. Oh, let me stop sharing the first card. Oh, I'll pin my video for the recording. We have the art card. And think if you've got any questions while I do this. This is the pulling together and the alchemy card, really, and the mixing together of all the opposites. We've kind of been through and this amazing few years, really, with the Uranus-Pluto square. This year finishes up a lot of these energies of these major transformations. We've had major shifts in sign changes. Uranus, after 7 years in Aries, moved into Taurus. Chiron, after 7 years in Pisces, moved into Aries. So the equinox and fall, yeah, it's all hitting my nodes. So it's kind of hitting me on saying it's time to fulfill your purpose. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I think a lot of that will ease after the full moon. I hope you're doing something amazing on the full moon. I'm going to a lovely sound healing event at my yoga studio. So, but anyway, this alchemy, oh, you're dancing. Cool. That's good too. But this is where we're coming from. We've been asking to mix all these elements, really. There's a lot of opposites in the chart with all these grand crosses and the grand cross energy building. And that is about mixing all the elements, to be honest. So we have Cancer, the water sign, at one end with a north node. We have the earth sign with Capricorn, and then we have Aries, fire, Libra, air. So we're mixing all the elements. We are bringing every part of us together, okay, at this time. This, and then we also have science, Mercury in Aquarius. I think we're being asked to pay kind of attention to bringing together all these ideas. And for our future vision, Aquarius is very, we're being asked to think about our intentions, our goals, our visions, because the Aries new moon is very much kind of the new beginning of the astrological new year. So, so there's that. And then where we're going, peace. The sword cuts through, look, through the lily, joins things together. And this is the where's the astrological symbols? There's the moon at the top, or moon in Libra, which is where the moon is. I do think we have, I always think these are opportunities. Yeah. Yay. And yay, my north node too. Woohoo! So I'm kind of excited that this is exactly on my nodes, this full moon. But I have felt this shift coming. I've shifted so much already since Chiron's passed my south node. Released a lot of stuff, moved towards this north node. But anybody who has anything around 0 for this full moon is 0 Aries, Libra particularly, or 0 Cancer, Capricorn too. But also anything around those 23 degrees. Oh my God. You know, I have Chiron at 23 Aquarius, Sun at 21 Sagittarius, and Uranus at 20 Leo. So they're all really close. So I'm kind of being hit big time. I'm feeling it good though. I am actually feeling it really well. I've had some old stuff come up. My Uranus is in my 8th house in Leo. So, you know, I've definitely had some triggers, but I feel that they're all good ones. So, well, anyway, I just wanted to get on. I'm so glad you were here, Yasmin, Susan. Oh, Hi, Angel. You just caught me at the end. I was just saying that, well, it's being recorded. I will upload the recording and post it in the in Patreon. I will say that, this tomorrow is just an amazing day. This Mars Pluto trine that is today could be a little bit ouchy because people can get a bit loggerheads with Mars and Pluto. Oh, good, you feel encouraged. Cool. But it is a trine, which is a flowy aspect, but I don't think there's any such thing as an easy aspect, especially with Mars and Pluto. It's easier than a square, that's for sure. But there may be a few clashes, and there may be a little bit more kind of earth-shifting energy, quite literally. Okay, which is why my post today was I feel the earth move. But anyway, I won't see you guys. Anybody who's at 25 or 50 level, I'll see you on the call tomorrow. If I can, I am going to come on live again at the equinox. I can't come on live again at the full moon because I'm going to be, oh yeah, in a psych hospital. It could be worse, to be honest, at the moment. This full moon with Mars, Pluto, and all that energy, psych hospitals could be, oh, it's fine. I did it kind of last minute because things are crazy busy. So that's why I record. So, alrighty, I'm going to get this going and get the recording posted in Patreon. And I'll try and come on tomorrow at the solstice. So just before 4 my time. I can't always promise that I can do that, but I will definitely try. Can't do it on the full moon because I'm going to be in a sound bath healing. But yeah, lots of love to you both and to Susanna who was here. And I'll see you next time. Oh, it will. It's going to be lovely, Angel. It's at my yoga studio. It's going to be heaven. All right, then. See you later.